Welcome, everybody, to the BlogPaws Cares and Shares. Larry, how's your coffee? This is Robbie from BlogPaws, the blog manager, and I want to introduce Carol Bryant. She is a dog lover of the highest order. She is BlogPaws PR manager, and she also runs Fidos of Reality. And then we also have Larry Kay. He is an award-winning dog author and filmmaker with more than 1 million dog-loving Facebook fans. So between Carol and Larry today, they are going to tell you how you can rock Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram the way that they do. So let me turn it over to them. We'll introduce the two of them, and let's get started. Carol, why don't you start and tell me what is your favorite platform, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram?
Well, my heart belongs to Facebook, and I'm sure Larry would agree on this. But with Facebook and their algorithm and all of the craziness going on there, and I can't wait to co-present with Larry at BlogPaws just for that reason, just to hear his insights into that, because I know he's really successful there. I'm now delving more into Instagram. Facebook is still by far my bestie, but Instagram is becoming my second BFF, for lack of a better phrase. So yeah, that would be what I'm falling in love with more and more. I love the ease of use of it. I love the interaction. And on blogs, where content is king, on Instagram, comment is king. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But Larry, do you want to give your insights?
Yeah, my favorite platform is Carol Bryant.
Stop it! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Facebook. It's just been extraordinary. When I first started, I was throwing spaghetti at the wall. It was just, I was trying everything and spreading myself too thin, but I figured I had no choice, so I just kept doing everything until I got traction with something, and thank goodness the Facebook finally did after about 9 months, and so I've stuck with that.
Great.
And if you each had to give me, well, let's just jump right into this. What is your one best practice tip for your favorite platform? Larry, let's go with you since you're on the screen right now.
Yeah, keep at it would be my best practice is multiple times daily. Before things took off, I got on the good side of this algorithm that Carol spoke of when it happened a year ago, December, and I can see it in my statistics. Suddenly, it shot out of a cannon. Right up until that point, I think I must have been spending 30 hours a week doing all the platforms and doing none of my other work. And then finally something stuck. I hope that answers the question, Robbie.
I believe it does. And Carol, what is your best practice tip if you had to give one to somebody?
Well, right now there are about 300 million active users on Instagram, and so knowing that right out of the gate, this sounds so simple, but you would not believe how many people don't do it. Take good quality photos that are consistent with your brand. And if you are a pet blogger, I really don't want to see what you ate for supper unless it's your dog. I really don't want to know what you made for a craft unless you're making it for your dog. You need consistency. And so taking good photos, iPhones are great. Androids are great if you have apps. And become best friends with a really good app. And in my session at BlogPaws with Larry, we'll be talking about some of those apps. And I'll also be blogging a little bit more about that in the meantime. But that would be my best practices tip. Consistently, you might think it's a really cute photo, and it probably is. But layer it with a really nice app, clean it up, make sure the lighting is good, and watch your background clutter. So Instagram is so picture heavy. That would be my best practice.
Okay. And like you both said, you could spend 80, 90 hours a week on your Facebook or any of these platforms. How do you determine, first of all, where is your audience, and how do you determine how much time you should be spending on these platforms? I guess bottom line, where is your audience and how do you determine that? Let's go with Larry, if that's okay, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Again, it was really trial and error.
Okay.
Get back to the first part of the question. Remind me here. I'm a little foggy this morning. I was doing musicians hours last night, here in Los Angeles, and so it's a little early for me, even with a little bit of coffee here.
Basically, with all of the platforms out there, and specifically the three that we're talking about, how do you know which one to spend this time on? How do you know where your audience is?
So I'll answer it the same way as I just keep trying, and thank goodness I found one where I did. What I think one of the reasons that Facebook works for me is because I do a little bit of text, and I like making graphics and photos and that sort of thing, and it really, it really fit for that. And then the other piece that I really enjoyed was the interaction among my fans I had hoped for, and finally I achieved.
Okay. And Carol, how do you know where your audiences are?
So I'm going to answer, and then I actually have a question for Larry based on something he just said. I'm sure everyone's following their Google Analytics. So look at where folks are coming in from, and if you're not happy, and honestly, Facebook's my #1 referrer of traffic, and it remains so to this day. So I'd never abandon that. There's actually not a good way to track if your traffic is coming from Instagram. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to see comments on my blog, hey, I found you on Instagram, or someone will private message me and say, I'm entering your contest, or I read a post that you wrote because I saw what you said on Instagram. So I believe it's all about just knowing what your readers' interests are. And if you have a blog business plan, and that's what you've written about, Robbie, on BlogPaws, you need a blog business plan and to know, A, where are your readers coming from, or most importantly, where do you want them to come from? So I'm sure Larry's being modest, but he's got well over 1 million Facebook fans. So Larry's my new best friend.
And you said you had a question for Larry based on something.
I did. What would you recommend for folks? Because I hear this all the time working for BlogPaws is, I'm doing the things. I'm putting the pictures up. Sometimes I'm boosting a post. I'm trying to mix it up with text. Do you have one good tip for everybody who's with bated breath listening to you today? Because I know they're out there. What would you recommend is an actionable thing they can do to be like you, Larry?
There you go. I would find ways of. I'll answer it specifically, but first I want to answer it generally. Find ways to create interaction among your fans. You are only one of you. I'm only one of me, and it won't scale up if it's just about me. Unless I'm somebody who's that scintillating. I'm not. But if you can create the interaction among your fans, then they start creating that for you. They create your audience. So how did I do that? I created a Supermodel of the Week contest. And all I simply do is I ask people to post photos of their dogs. And then, and let me tell you, it took me close to 9 months of asking people to do that, and then I would forward their photos to my timeline, and then little by little people would start liking them. So there was a slight interaction, and then every week I would put the winner, that photo that got the most likes, into my Facebook banner, which was back in the day, almost 2 years ago, the banner was a big deal. Now on mobile, it's less of a big deal, the banner. And so just the prize of having your dog in the banner on my little page for an entire week was a good enough prize. And so I kept it that. Really, it was a full gestation period, 9 months. And finally it took off.
That's great. So you gave birth to a Facebook baby.
I did indeed. The other thing I did, and I know some people it's not your favor to do that, but I purchased advertising. You have the opportunity to click who your ad is seen by, and I ended up spending, for a while it was like $10 a day, sometimes even $15 a day. And I was really excited that it started working.
Right.
So, and I simply targeted it was either dogs or pets. I forget how granular the click boxes allow you to do that. And I continued that for a while without a goal of having the money come back to me, but just that I was tired of talking to myself.
Yeah. That's excellent.
And I know we've we've already kind of touched on these in some of the questions that I've asked, but Carol, how many times a day do I have to be on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? Is once a day good enough? Can I be there 3 times a week? Do I have to be there 30 times a day?
Well, I'm mostly focusing during this hangout on Instagram because to try to get into Twitter as well. But
Right.
Twitter is its own beast in and of itself. And I mean, as long as you're not rapid fire tweeting, I really think that's a bit annoying. And people, when you see 5 to 10 tweets come up within 2 minutes, you really don't want to be the person at the cocktail party that hogs the conversation. And that's what I equate that with. On Instagram, I see folks saying 1 time a day. I'm basically putting photos up there 3 times a day at different points, and I'm experimenting. Don't compare your beginning with someone else's middle is my best tip. So if somebody's out there like if Ruckus the Esky, I know she's a BlogPawser, and she's got an amazing following. I just thousands and thousands of followers, and they're just clean pictures of her white American Eskimo dog in different situations. And she figured out, because I know Ruckus's mom, she figured out what worked best for her audience. And, I mean, she's getting like 5,000 or more likes on an image. So experiment with times. If you're on, remember the West Coast folks, too. Remember time zones. This is international. Instagram is not so much a website. It's an app. And people are just on the go. I mean, I know I'm in bed and I've got my phone and I'm just doing this, before bed. And it's easy. It's a really easy, mindless thing to do, but you still need to have a business plan around it. So ask yourself, when am I going to put them up? Who am I targeting? What's my purpose? And does it reflect my blog, which is my brand? Because you need consistency. Also, before I hand this over to Larry, I wouldn't put the same pictures up on Facebook that I put on Instagram. Well, if your fans are already there, why do they want to then follow you over and see the same things? You might bore them. So that would be just some of my tips there.
Okay. And Larry, how much time do you feel that a person should put into each of these platforms, or choosing a favorite platform?
The way I'll answer that about Facebook is what I discovered is what I now call the cotton candy plus broccoli strategy. And in the talk with Carol at the conference, I'll share 8 strategies. But what I discovered is what I call cotton candy with broccoli. And for example, it takes no time at all to post a fun picture of a dog, right? It's literally a minute. And it takes less than a minute for me to share one of my guests' posts. And yet that's not why I'm doing this. Why I'm doing this is to rescue dogs. I'm really into shelter dogs and other advocacy and training and all that sort of thing. That's why I'm doing it. It was humbling to spend sometimes all day writing a really good article and having it receive a tenth of the attention of if I were just to put up a photo of Dexter on screen. It was really humbling. And then I'm thinking, well, gosh, I should just be just doing fun pictures of dogs all the time. But then I thought, well, why am I doing this? No. So the cotton candy, the pictures of the dogs, attracts people there. And then once they're there, I feed them broccoli, the stuff that I consider that is important.
Okay.
So I call it my cotton candy plus broccoli strategy, and that's one of the 8 strategies that I'll share in the talk with Carol.
Now I'm hungry for cotton candy and broccoli because I love them. Okay, I am sure that in all of your travels along the social media platforms, you see some people that are insane with hashtags. Can you two give me a best practice with how many hashtags is too many? Is there even such a thing? Larry, did you want to go or do you want Carol to go?
Uh, I'll just say
Okay.
I'm new to hashtags. I'm doing my first hashtag campaign that is launching either today. Well, we'll call it today. With Halo, it's called hashtag Halo Feed It Forward, and then another hashtag P as in positively woof,
Okay.
which is my hashtag. And if you put those two together and post a picture of your dog on my Facebook page, we'll forward it to the timeline, and Halo will donate, if we get enough of them, Halo will donate 10,000 bowls of food to
Wow.
pet orphans of Southern California, where I'm just super excited, and we're doing a big project there that I'll describe in a moment. But that's my first time doing anything with hashtags. My assistant tells me use hashtags, and I don't get it yet. So, well,
Yeah, I think it's a different beast on Facebook with a hashtag. I don't know, and that's something I think Larry will probably address at the BlogPaws conference. Are hashtags taking off on Facebook? Do we use them on Instagram? Hashtags are oxygen. It is the way that things are. And when you post a photo on Instagram, just quick tips, because I know when I watch Google Hangouts, I like to talk in definitives. I like to hear actionable tips I could take away. Please don't clutter your main picture with 25 or 30 hashtags. People are going to be annoyed. Talk as you would conversationally, and then maybe add a few hashtags at the end of it. Put some hashtags in your comments. And a tip that I learned from Manny the Frenchie, who is a rock star in his own right, and he was a speaker at BlogPaws 2014, is he puts his hashtags in the first comment after the picture, and then after an hour he'll delete those out and either let them go, they're not there anymore, or he'll replace them with new ones so that he's able to garner a variety and know why you're using the hashtags. Just don't randomly put in LOL or funny or cute. There are specific themes you can get around, and I'm going to put this in an ebook I'll have available at BlogPaws conference.
Okay.
There are hashtags that you could absolutely get around. We're doing this on a Thursday. Today is hashtag Throwback Thursday or TBT. So if you just are new to Instagram, you have no idea where to start, post a photo of your pet from Throwback Thursdays yesterday. So anything that's older, and that's a good start.
And Carol, just based on something that you said about Manny being a rock star, how do you and Larry determine when you're a rock star? Is there some sort of metric that you put to that to go, I have arrived?
Glitter. As much glitter as I can wear.
Glitter? Well, I realize glitter is good, but is there anything else that the person out there listening could do?
Yeah.
If they don't have access to glitter, let's say.
Glitter. Okay, so there are things going on offline that should drive your traffic online. I think that's one of the things that most of the folks that I know, Larry, with everything he's doing and his awesome numbers there are things he's doing to drive the traffic there that don't start in Facebook necessarily. There are things that a lot of the folks on Instagram that are there. My Instagram started growing after doing Wiggle Butt Warriors, and whenever I have a fundraiser, people want to know more about it, so they come online and they learn things. So just don't judge yourself again by someone else's middle if you're just starting. And second, make it about you. Don't be so focused on the numbers that you think I want to be a rock star tomorrow. If you're natural and you're having fun and you're engaging with people, I think Larry would agree they'll come.
Amen, Carol. Yeah, I would entirely agree. And I have to give you props, Carol, because when I started researching this was about 2 years ago, you were one of the people who I thought, oh, she looks like a rock star. And so I'm just trying to learn best practices from other people. Another one of the 8 strategies, that I'll share is I really believe in building a team of people. In order for me to maintain what I'm doing on my Facebook page, there are literally a dozen people who contribute to my Facebook page on a regular basis who have admin privileges. Wow. And so, yeah, it's a rising tide that will lift all boats, and and they receive all kinds of benefits for working with me as a team. And you know, it helps their rock star status. It helps mine. You know, we share each other's. So I would say, and I call it, before brand, build your band. So that's another one of the 8 strategies.
That's awesome.
And can the two of you, we've got about 9 minutes left, can we get a little bit of a sneak preview on what we're going to learn from you at the BlogPaws conference? Because even though I'm in the middle of a snowstorm right now, Nashville is coming quickly. So what can you give us that's going to make people want to come and sit in on this and walk away being their own social media rock star? Carol, what can you tell us?
Okay, so for starters, I said I will have an ebook, but if you're there in person, I plan to have a very special surprise guest. So there's something there, but some of the things that I hope to impart on folks is actionable steps that they can take to make their Instagram grow, to make their Twitter grow. So I'm going to split my session between Twitter and Instagram and try to have a little bit of a crossover of how they complement one another. Some of the things I want to bring to the table, though, are specific apps, programs, and things to make your life easier. Because as Larry said, if you can't either afford to have a band of people just yet, or if you're just one person right now and that's all you can do, there are specific apps out there. I'll give you a little sneak peek. There are some. I saw a conversation recently on Facebook. Can I schedule my posts on Instagram? And you can. I'm going to put these up in a blog post, but for anyone listening, watching this, Schedulegram, Latergram, Takeoff, and Instapult. There are 4 apps that you can use that you can schedule your photos throughout the day. But please don't forget to engage. You need to go back and engage with people. Content is king, but on Instagram, commenting is queen. You really want to make sure that you're engaging with people, because if I'm in this is something I'm going to talk about in person, if I'm in your feed, people are going to see me commenting, and they're going to want to know, well, who is that? Make sure your picture is clear and they can see who you are in that picture. If the first impressions are everything, and the first thing they see is your icon of your Instagram, what does that represent, and is that true to your brand? So if you're a beagle blogger, make sure that beagle's there. Don't have, broccoli there, to use Larry's analogy. That's your favorite food. You want to most definitely have something that represents you. So I'll give you actionable tips that you can walk away with, help you grow your followers, and please avoid ghost accounts. You don't want to buy followers. If you do that, Instagram will find you, and you're going to waste your money, and they'll delete them anyway. You want active, engaged people.
And I'm kind of hoping that when I see Carol at the BlogPaws conference, that she talked about being a queen, that she will be wearing her tiara.
I will.
I know that she owns one.
I will. I will wear my tiara, and Dexter will wear his Elvis outfit, because we will be in.
And Larry, you've alluded a little bit to the 8 steps that you'll be doing. What else can you do to set us up for your session at BlogPaws?
Well, the background that I come to this with is I as a media strategist, that's what I used to do before I did this. I used to work for Disney in strategy and in their internet division, so I got an opportunity as a senior product manager to see the whole internet landscape from a really advantageous position and really understand strategically how the commercial internet works. And so I come to it, as a media strategist, and my love for dogs. So that's the orientation that I'll have. Another one of the 8 strategies, I call it tail wags the dog. And it's something that I discovered while doing this. My strategy presentation used to have television in the middle of my strategy deck, and everything was around that TV hub. Now my strategy deck, is all about social media, and it's got, of course, Facebook right in the middle of that hub, and the other social media platforms around it, and nowhere on that strategy deck is television. So I think one of the things that I'm realizing is when I look at this from the point of view of Facebook, think about this. Facebook, from Facebook's perspective, they're in a war with Google. They're trying to battle each other. So from their perspective, what are they thinking of? And that's what I'm going to share. You know,
Okay.
one of the keys around that is video, right? Google's got YouTube and Facebook's got, well, you can post your own videos. And so, and they're rewarding that. Facebook's algorithm is currently rewarding post your own videos. And so, so I'm trying to, you know, figure that out and doing a good job. And my own next step strategy is about a web series that I've launched for 2015 called Dog Rescue Stars. And if you go to positivelywoof.com, you'll see what Dog Rescue Stars is about. The idea is simple. We're making short films with shelter dogs. And the idea behind that is, what would happen if we trained shelter dogs as if they were movie dogs? So having just a huge amount of fun with this.
Oh, I can imagine.
Before Valentine's Day today, at positivelywoofed.com, you'll see the Valentine's Day video that just went out.
That's great. We have about 3 minutes left, and I do have some questions from the audience. And I have a couple of questions that are almost the same, one from Ruth and one from Yvonne, wanting to know if you only have an hour a day or a limited amount of time, what can you do on social media? I mean, can you be effective? And let's go to Carol, if that's okay.
Yes, don't try to spread yourself too thin would be my best advice. I don't try to be the best at every single social media platform. You need to determine, again, it gets back to your own blog's business plan. At the very least, where do you want your readers to come from? Where do you want your viewers to come from? And then go get them. If you know that you're a very picture-heavy blog, then focus on Instagram. If you definitely know you want to engage with folks and you want that dialogue and that conversation, and who doesn't? I believe everybody needs to be on Facebook. It's just the way of the world if you're blogging.
And Larry, what can you add to that? If you have an hour a day, what can you get done?
You can just build on what Carol said. I mean, everything is spot on, so to speak. And I would add to that is work with other people. Find other people who you're simpatico with and attempt to, you know, do something for them. Be of service.
Is this what you talked about with building your band?
Yes.
Those are some of the people? Okay. And that's something you're going to talk about at the conference, on how to build your band? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Have something valuable to offer. Know who you are. Be authentic to your own truth.
Oh, that's great advice. We have a question from Melissa, and she had asked about hashtags on Instagram, and I know, Carol, that you had mentioned hashtags on Instagram, so maybe she missed it. Can you give a brief comment about the benefit of hashtags?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be doing an accompanying post with this on blogpaws.com, and I will list some key hashtags that pet bloggers should fall in love with immediately and use. And you know what? It's a matter of figuring out what works for you. Google what Instagram hashtags are out there, and then depending on your pictures, associate them with it. So, you know what? It's just going to be fine-tuning your own individual strategy, because what works for a plumber's blog isn't going to work for a cat blog. You know, it's that kind of thing. So,
Carol, let me ask you this along the lines of hashtags. I mean, I see so many people on Facebook that put a hashtag of, you know, hashtag this is what I had for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even helping anybody with anything? Is anybody searching something that?
Yeah, that's not for searchable, because I will do things like, I just put one up today and I said, I love my family. Now, that might be one, but if there's just something cute, like sometimes, you know, we all do something goofy, or the dog does something funny, and I'll hashtag, what the hell was I thinking? Just because it's funny and it's engaging, and that kind of thing, and it's interesting because that'll get more shares than something that I spent, you know, 10 minutes trying to formulate and get a really good hashtag base around. But experiment. That's all I could really say is for Melissa and everybody listening, is experiment with hashtags, and go to blogpaws.com and just watch for the post on hashtags that all pet bloggers should be using.
Okay, that's good to know. So not all hashtags have to be seriously searchable.
Right.
They can sometimes be fun, but you do want to take advantage of the searchability.
Exactly.
We are a minute over time, so is there anything, Larry, that you would like to say as a wrap-up? And then we'll go back to Carol and see if she has anything to say as a wrap-up.
I would say in general, if I think if I think I know it all, I've peaked. I'm done. By the time the conference, I'll have yet more that I will know to be able to convey, and I'm looking forward to learning from so many of you at the BlogPaws conference as well.
It's fantastic. Thank you. And I like the idea of the fact that you always have to keep learning, because what you know today will probably have changed tomorrow.
We're living in dog's years.
Yes, we are. And Carol, what can you say as a bit of a wrap-up and as more to get people more excited to come to our BlogPaws conference?
Absolutely. So I want to give a tip and then a follow and then just a little teaser. Number one, the tip is watermark your photos if at all possible. I know folks who have had a picture go viral on Instagram and they didn't watermark. It's a protection for you, but it's also a brand messaging for yourself. So that's one thing. Watermark is a great app to use. And then the word watermark is a free, great, easy app to use. Number two is absolutely come to the BlogPaws conference and learn more about this and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the different sessions we have. That's May in Nashville. And just as a teaser, like I said, I'm going to have a special guest that's going to appear with me, and you know, somebody who's known in the world of Instagram. So that would be my little shout out there too. And anybody can do it. The nice part about Instagram is anyone can log on and in literally minutes put a picture up. It's not anything that you're going to have weeks of a tutorial around. You learn as you go.
Okay. Thank you, Carol and Larry, for being here today and for being part of our BlogPaws Cares and Shares series. We will see you both in Nashville in May, and this video will be live on our Google page pretty much as soon as I hit broadcast. So have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. See you, Carol.